Welcome to Tac Chat 16. I'm Dan, your host. This is going to be just a pretty quick little episode. I want to put something out there into the space. I'm going to be doing a presentation / workshop at the Church of Radiant Lights next month, July 14th at 7 p.m. It's on a Wednesday. It's going to cost $20. I personally would do it for free. But, you know, this church is one of those non-for-profits, not-for-profits, non-denominational organizations. It's a spiritual church, and it's non-denominational, so there's no religious dogma here. This is true spirituality. I believe religion is for those who are afraid of going to hell, and spiritualism is for those of us who've already been there, and I've already been there a couple of times. Some of the things I'm going to talk about this presentation are going to be my spiritual awakening and subsequent seeking of enlightenment, because they're mutually exclusive. You could have one without the other. And enlightenment is a never-ending process. I'm going to talk about that at this live presentation. It's going to be the first one, or first workshop I've done like this. I'm going to talk about, the animal spirit guides I've seen, all the synchronicities, numerology, the people that came into my life. Some of the things that I witnessed that I felt were supernatural at the time. I now call them simply natural, but still some very hard to explain phenomenon that I witnessed that went on. And in the last couple of months, I've been trying to figure out, well, how do I best explain this? I explained it in a book. Now I got to put it into words. I got to talk it now. I got to speak it. I got to speak it out into the space, not just write it. You have time to fix things when you write. You don't really have time to do that when you speak. So there's a reason why speaking is so important, is because we cast spells with our words. That's why it's called spelling when you make a word. So speaking is more important, I think, than writing. Although both are important, people learn in different ways. You should be able to do both. So I'm going to be working on my public speaking again, and I'm used to it like in martial arts. I'm not used to it on this. I've already said this before. This is definitely something new for me, and I still, every time I do this, I feel like I'm by myself, actually. If I had more people down here, it'd be different. But anyway, I'm not trying to do a perfect podcast, but what I'm going to be talking about is the spiritual awakening I had and things that I witnessed. And I was trying to figure out, hey, how do I explain this without sounding crazy? And then I realized, just like the TV show on Netflix, Stranger Things, we're already living in an upside down world. What do I got to lose by sounding crazy? Who cares, If my story can help even one person, this is going to be my rise from darkness and subsequent spiritual awakening that I had. It's like I feel like I'm one of the people being called to talk in this crazy world right now with all the nonsense going on. And I'm going to talk about natural law and what natural law is. And a lot of people don't really understand all of natural law. They think natural law is just about the law of cause and effect. I'm going to talk about that. But I'm also going to talk about the real law of attraction, which is the law of correspondence, as within, so without, where sometimes our thoughts and intentions can create a negative ripple of natural law, and not to the degree that our actions would. And I believe some of that, I dealt with some of that, and I tried to explain it to somebody once, and he understood it actually, and I explained it like this. I used my hand, and I just picture the Eye of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings. Your thoughts and intentions, it'll get its attention a little bit. So you are affected by your thoughts, more so by your actions, but your thoughts and intentions too. And that's the law of correspondence. That's a true law of attraction. Now, when you create an action or do an action based on those thoughts, that's when this Eye of Sauron thing, which I call natural law, it's in the universe, boom, zooms in on you. So I'm going to talk briefly about that and try to explain that in a way where I really think that this is what brings spirituality and science together, because man isn't the arbitrator of truth. Man is not the arbitrator of what is moral. Okay, there are personal morals, but then there's objective morality. And I'm not going to get real far into that. I'm also not going to get real far into, I'm going to talk about it a little bit though, because it all comes together. And I'm not going to get real far into, the nonsense going on in the world today. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this worldwide psyop. There's going to be other, podcasts where I will talk about that. Now's not the time. That's a low-hanging fruit. This presentation isn't the time for that. I'm going to really just talk about my spiritual awakening. And what I know without a doubt is, to me, proof that there's a higher power in this universe. other than man. And again, I'm not going to talk about the worldwide PSYOP. If I think about that, the trillions of dollars that they've dumped into this, sometimes you can think on it, it's like, hey, it's a lost cause already. We've already lost. And you think like that, and it's like, no, wait a minute. What about that law of correspondence thing? Now, we didn't already lose. There is hope. And if there wasn't, there wouldn't be these signs or omens that I've been getting, that I did get. There is a benevolent force in this universe that actually means us well, that does not want to see us do bad, that wants to see us do good, that does not want this evil enveloping the world to actually triumph. That's the only way I can put it right now. I'm going to have it all together for this presentation at the Church of Radiant Lights. I'm not getting political. I'm not going to talk about the worldwide PSYOP. I am going to talk about the real spiritual awakening I had, the real synchronicities I had, and how it all ties in, how it all comes together. And then I'm going to start talking more about real self-protection and self-defense. Down in the comments, I'm going to have a link to the Church of Radiant Lights. I'm going to have a link to my school, the Spirit Soaring Martial Arts. We teach kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, self-defense. A funny story side. As far as martial arts goes, right? If you're going to throw a hook punch at somebody, say a left hook, make sure you don't throw it with your arm fully extended to somebody who's 28 years younger than you, and you hit their head and your arm gets a little hyperextended, because you can tear a bicep tendon that way. I'm not saying that's what I did. I'm just saying you could. And if you got a doctor with a sense of humor, he then puts a cast on your arm that's going to remind you for about 3 weeks how to properly throw a hook punch. So anyway, I think weird things happen when you're going live. But yeah, that's one of I'm going to start talking about that kind of stuff. I'm going to start talking about things that can really help people outside of this PSYOP that's going on in the world. So I think that's about it. Hey, I forgot to add a couple things. I'm just terrible at this marketing thing. I will have some books there to sell also. Proceeds, I'm going to be donating proceeds. I'm not doing this for the money. Also, I can be reached at dan@asgardtacticalsolutions.com. That's the email address. Spirit Soaring Martial Arts is spiritsoaring.us is the website. And if you're ever in the Cleveland area and want to drop in, get some training in. We also do private lessons, so feel free to stop by, say hi, whatever. I think that's about it. Peace.